The White House, a symbol of American democracy for over 2 centuries, was deemed inadequate by President Donald J. Trump, who saw an opportunity to leave an indelible mark by addressing the logistical challenges of state dinners. The result was a colossal plan, a massive $300 million expansion of the East Wing, creating a nearly 90,000 square foot subterranean ballroom capable of seating 1,000 guests, the largest single physical change to the complex since 1948. The administration defended the staggering cost by insisting the project would be paid for entirely by private donations, sparking an immediate and intense controversy that shifted the debate from architecture to the dangerous intersection of money, power, and influence in the nation's most sacred public space. White House renovations have always been part of its history, often driven by necessity, such as the Truman Reconstruction after World War II, or by historical preservation, like the Kennedy Restoration. The Trump Ballroom, however, challenged this precedent by proposing a permanent, large event structure to replace the temporary tents often used for state dinners, addressing the practical inadequacy of the smaller East Room for modern guest lists of 300 or more. While the administration positioned the ballroom as essential utility, opponents viewed the demolition of the 1934 East Wing structure, which began in late 2025, as an act of architectural violence and a disregard for historical continuity, highlighting the conflict between a president's ambition and the architectural heritage of the nation. Despite initial assurances that the structure would not interfere with the current building, the final plans required the complete deconstruction of the historic East Wing and colonnade, with demolition commencing in October 2025. This act provoked immediate legal action and scathing criticism from preservationists, including a National Park Service assessment, which warned the new, massive footprint would disrupt the historical continuity and alter the architectural integrity of the White House grounds. The design, overseen by the firm Shalom Barons, promised internal grandeur with high ceilings and ornamental finishes, but the trade-off was the removal of historic elements, including commemorative magnolia trees, making the construction a clear choice of imposing a grand, contemporary vision over historical preservation. The administration's defense rested on the zero cost to taxpayers claim, achieved by using the nonprofit framework of the White House Historical Association, a model traditionally used for minor curatorial and preservation work since the Kennedy era. However, the Trump administration pushed this model beyond precedent, applying private funding to a massive, permanent structural addition 5 times more expensive than the inflation-adjusted cost of the Truman Reconstruction. The funding, which included a reported $22 million from a legal settlement paid by YouTube/Google, flowed without the public oversight or public disclosure laws required of congressional appropriations, transforming the project into a $300 million fundraising opportunity that critics feared was ripe for transactional influence. The partial list of major donors revealed a stunning concentration of corporate power, including big tech giants like Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and Meta, as well as major defense contractors like Lockheed Martin and influential crypto firms like Coinbase. These corporations, all facing critical regulatory, legislative, and contractual decisions from the executive branch, made multi-million-dollar contributions to the president's personal legacy project. For ethics watchdogs, these contributions represented a dangerous and unprecedented blurring of the lines between corporate self-interest and civic philanthropy, effectively establishing a high-cost, high-stakes system of political patronage and access. The transactional nature of the funding was confirmed when, during a protracted federal government shutdown in October 2025, the White House hosted a celebratory gala dinner for major sponsors in the East Room, while construction on the privately funded ballroom continued. The guest list featured powerful executives and, critically, representatives from the major lobbying firms that represent these corporate donors, including Miller Strategies and Ballard Partners. This optics nightmare, a private, celebratory dinner held on public property at a time of national gridlock, solidified the project's reputation as a prime example of political patronage, where financial contribution directly translated into privileged access and influence at the highest levels of government. The rapid demolition spurred a landmark lawsuit in December 2025 by the National Trust for Historic Preservation, which argued that the president had illegally bypassed critical federal laws, including the Administrative Procedures Act, APA, and the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA, to avoid mandatory environmental and design reviews. Compounding the ethical concerns, the president also fired all 6 members of the Commission of Fine Arts, a body statutorily required to review the aesthetic compatibility of the new design, allowing the administration to eliminate historical review and proceed without consulting Congress, thus challenging the constitutional limits of presidential authority over federal property. The ballroom project became a political lightning rod, drawing sharp criticism from across the political spectrum. Democrats like Hillary Clinton and Representative Jamie Raskin accused the president of prioritizing personal opulence over public service and disregarding the White House's status as a public trust. Even conservative architectural critics questioned the imposition of the president's personal, ornate aesthetic onto the building's neoclassical sobriety. Crucially, public polling indicated the project was broadly unpopular, and the contrast between the costly, continuous construction and the government shutdown cemented the ballroom as a physical symbol of a president perceived to be focused on luxurious legacy over immediate national concerns. The $300 million ballroom stands as the ultimate capstone on President Trump's effort to leave a massive, permanent, and physical mark on the presidency, following earlier renovations of the Oval Office and the Rose Garden that favored stone, gold, and his signature grand aesthetic. Framing the ballroom as a long-sought solution that his predecessors could not achieve, the president was deeply and personally involved in the design and scale, ensuring the final structure would rival the world's most luxurious event spaces. This massive, steel and concrete addition is a guarantee of architectural permanence, a definitive, unerasable testament to the fact that Donald J. Trump's vision, funded by his closest allies, had physically redefined the limits of the People's House. With construction scheduled for an optimistic summer 2028 completion, the ballroom is poised to be unveiled just months before the president leaves office, presenting a profound political challenge to any future administration. While critics despise its origins and cost, the completed 90,000 square foot space will be an undeniable logistical asset, effectively solving the decades-long problem of hosting major state dinners. The cost of demolition or refusal to use the functional structure would be politically and financially untenable, ensuring the ballroom's permanent absorption into the White House complex. History will ultimately judge whether the $300 million ballroom is a necessary architectural gift or the most expensive and ethically fraught monument to presidential patronage in American history.